Hey guys, good morning. All right, so we should be in core one at this point, having an opportunity to eat some breakfast and get moving on our virtual activity for the day. Just want to remind you how important it is to take your tablet home each and every day and be sure that you charge it up. I think after the pandemic that we experienced and school closure and remote learning, there's really no more like inclement weather days. If we have a snow day, it'll probably be a remote learning day, so we can get credit for the school day and not have to make it up. And your teachers are going to be using Canvas and also Microsoft Teams to communicate and to provide instruction. So every single day, be sure you take your device home, charge it, and bring it back the next day. So this morning, you're using Microsoft Teams to be in a meeting and you're watching this video that teachers have shared with you. The purpose of today, again, is to help you learn or refresh your memory on how to navigate Microsoft Teams. So they'll be talking to you at the conclusion of this video about some things that you can do in the Microsoft Teams program, such as the chat feature with your microphone, your camera, those kinds of things. Let's just take a look and see who's in the lead. We know that today is Thursday, the final day of the second quarter. It's looking pretty close, but it looks like Nike House, after their performance yesterday, has scooped into first place. So congratulations to Nike. We'll see how that holds. You do have the Scholar Dollar event later on this afternoon, so you have an opportunity to use all the mini dollars that you guys have been earning. And be sure you're not losing today, man. Take advantage of the opportunity to do great things, be a leader, and teachers should recognize and reward those behaviors as well. We've been talking about this concept of courage during the month of January. We have a new theme coming next week as we move into February. A lot of good things happen in February, including Black History Month. We have some great lessons coming in honor of that month. So, more good things to come. Hey, we've been talking about things that grow. I want you to take a look at this image. This is out in California. This is known as a sequoia redwood tree. This is a massive tree that has been growing for hundreds of years. And just to give you a little bit of context about how big this tree is, this tree would be like if it were in a city, it would be taller than many of the buildings. It's taller than any building in High Point or Greensboro. It's several hundred feet tall. Like, look how tall this tree is in comparison to these kids. These kids are standing at the base of this I think it's called a Sherman a redwood out in California, just massive. So we're talking about things that grow. This pineapple, I don't know how it grew out of the ground. I thought they grew on trees, but there's an example of something that grows. But I did want to tell you real quickly about Zeus. Zeus is a Great Dane. He was known as the largest domesticated canine in the world up to a couple of years ago. When he would stand up on his back feet, he was like 7 feet 4 inches tall, which is taller than most of the NBA centers. He's a massive beast, man. Could you imagine walking that guy? So he grew very quickly. And I just want to continue talking about things that grow. We are challenging you to make sure that you understand the difference between basically thinking about having a growth mindset. You can learn new things, you can challenge yourself. If you fail, you learn from it. And then having a fixed mindset, which is like, well, I'm only good at certain things and I'm just going to focus on those things. I don't like to be challenged. I don't like to be pushed. If you succeed, I'm not really happy with it. So we want to be sure that we're understanding the difference between the two and that you are pursuing the growth mindset. We said over a couple of days and a couple of lessons that you have to have like a commitment to growth. It doesn't just happen automatically. It's not like a weed. You're not just going to get better at reading. You're not just going to get better at math just by kind of sitting around and doing nothing. You have to believe that growth is possible. You got to be unsatisfied with where you are, and you got to have a willingness to work hard. There is no shortcut to success in life. You've got to be willing to work hard and take advantage of the resources that are around you, whether that's teachers or peers or study groups or online tools. Take advantage of those resources. We are not using the word can't at Allen J. Prep. In your vocabulary, the word can't should not be there when talking about yourself. Instead, we use the word yet. You are a young person. You have many years of life and growth ahead of you. So I'm not good at this yet, or I don't understand this yet, or this doesn't make sense yet is the language that we use because the way you talk means a lot about your ability to grow. All right. Yesterday, I gave you three things. I'm going to follow up on those and give you three more today that if you're going to grow as a leader, you must have. You got to desire it. We talked about being unsatisfied, really have a burning desire to want to get better. If you've watched some of the athletes that are on Sundays or play in the NBA, They're always working to get better. They're not happy with just being okay. So they desire growth. They recognize where their weaknesses are. If you know where your weaknesses are, you can attack them or address them. And then we also discussed yesterday about embracing failure. Gave you a list of several individuals that had failed early in their career or at some point along their path, but they embraced it, they grew from it, and they became better. So this morning, 3 things that you can also do to grow as a leader. I think we need to understand that there are people out there that are wiser than us. Look around the room. You're not the wisest person in the room. If you are, you need to get into another room because you need to be in a room where you are able to grow from wiser people. That means it might be a parent, it might be a teacher, it might be somebody at your church, it might be your youth director or somebody that you take classes from. You got to surround yourself with people that are wise. All right. Growing leaders, you try to glean what you can from the wise people to make yourself better. So be a wisdom seeker and hang out with people that are wise. I'm not saying always teenagers, but be around people that know what's up and have good experience. I love that quote from John Wooden. He says, if you're not making mistakes, then you're not doing anything. I'm positive that a doer, we've talked about being doers, makes mistakes. So think about growing by listening to the wise voices. Hopefully, you've got some people in your life that are sharing some wisdom with you. Secondly, we have a term called mediocrity that I just need you to refuse. Mediocrity means being okay with just being okay. You might hear the word mediocre, like when you think about how did a team play or how did somebody perform. Mediocre. That's not what we're looking for. If you're going to grow as a leader, you have to refuse mediocrity. You have to push yourself beyond the limits. Average is common. That's what average is. But exceptional leaders, they take risks to go above and beyond what is expected. And so you have to refuse mediocrity. Last skill or last piece of information to share with you about how to grow as a leader is that if you're going to grow, you have to learn to accept correction. Now, correction can come in a variety of forms. It can be a teacher correcting your behavior. It could be a teacher correcting your math work. It can be a parent redirecting you or correcting you on something. But if you're going to grow, you have to learn how to receive that correction, accept it, and use it to get better. Unfortunately, a lot of us are pretty stubborn, and when we receive correction, we get offended and we like try to push it off to the side, like that person doesn't know what they're talking about, or he crazy, whatever. You need to learn to receive it, accept it, and use the correction to get better, because correction, when given appropriately, can help you grow. So I love this movie. It came out back in the day when I was a young guy, and now it's on Netflix with a new series called Cobra Kai. But back in the day, Daniel LaRusso moved into a new town, and he was kind of getting bullied a little bit at school and didn't really have any friends. But he ran into this dude, Mr. Miyagi, and Mr. Miyagi told him that he would teach him martial arts. He would specifically teach him karate. But he started off by teaching him how to paint a fence. And he basically showed Daniel the specific form on how to paint a fence. And when Daniel was just slapping paint on there, Miyagi like popped his hand, like, no, 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 you must paint the fence. And he showed him the specific technique. What Daniel didn't realize is that Miyagi was teaching him karate techniques, but he was teaching and correcting. And so Daniel had to receive that correction. He felt like he was just doing chores. He also told him, you need to learn how to wax on and wax off. And he had Daniel LaRusso out there waxing all of his 56 Oldsmobiles or other cars that he had. And Daniel received that correction, and it helped him to grow as a leader. He also taught him how to sand the floor, specific techniques that later came in handy when he fought in the All Valley tournament. So what I'm saying is you have to learn to accept correction. Let's see if we can get this to play. If it will, fantastic. If not, it's another exercise I need to work on using Microsoft Teams effectively. Doesn't look like it's going to play for me. This is where Daniel LaRusso basically learned all those specific skills and used them, but he had to receive correction from Mr. Miyagi and understand how to use it to make himself better. So here's what you can do in the classroom, or excuse me, how you can accept correction. In the classroom, think about when a teacher gives you correction. What's your response to it? Do you say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, thank you, okay? Or do you like shrug it off and have an attitude about it and not receive that correction and get angry about it? Receive it and use it. Think about your actions. Receive it in a respectful way. want to give you this last quote before we close out this morning. It's a proverb. A proverb is like an ancient teaching. Some proverbs come from the Bible, some come from the ancient land of China, some come from East Asia, but a proverb is just something that has been proven to be true and it shares wisdom. So let's gobble it up. Listen to the advice and accept correction. Then in the end, you will be wise. So I'm always listening to good advice. I'm always receiving and accepting correction the best I can too. Why? Because I want to grow. I hope you have a great day today, and I hope you will grow. These are the 6 things that we talked about how you can grow as a leader. You might want to pause this screen in case teachers ask you to reflect on it or to share something in the chat about which one you want to be focusing on today. There's the creed. Somebody might want to share that as well. All right, it's going to be a great day at Allen J. We do have a modified schedule today. So some of you guys are going to be going to encore classes at different times. Lunch may be moved around a little bit. Scholar Dollar event, 5th and 6th grades at 1:30, 7th and 8th grades at 2:50 this afternoon. And then we move into a 3-day weekend. No school tomorrow. We look forward to having everybody back Monday morning. It'll be the beginning of the 3rd quarter. Great time to make any adjustments that are needed. All right, guys, I hope you have a fantastic day. I look forward to seeing you in hallways and classrooms very, very soon. Take care.